Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, you'll be learning how to draft this elastic waist palazzo pant with pockets. So this is a two-in-one because you can also use the same pattern to draft to cut out your short pants, just like the way you see the one on my body. So if this is something you love to wear, please stay tuned to the end of this video. The next video is going to be the sewing tutorial. Why this is just the pattern drafting video. Okay, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. So let's get straight into the video. So right now I'm going to be drafting it out, and this is our pattern paper, my ruler, okay, and my tape. So this is my starting point. I just came down by 1 inch, which is going to be my starting point. So from that 1 inch I minus 2 inches, which is going to be my belt measurement, okay. That 2 inches is going to be for the waistband, okay. So from that 2 inches I measure to the length of my trouser, the length that I want my trouser to be. So I have to measure it out. So the paper was not enough. I have to go ahead and add another paper, and after that I'm going to read out. So this line I'm marking out on the side is just for the starting point, so that I will know where I'm going to be starting from. So now I'm going to be taking our measurements. I minus 2 inches for the waistband. So from that 2 inches I came down to my crotch depth. And how to get your accurate crotch depth is by dividing your hip by 4. Whatever you have, you add extra 1 inch allowance. So what I did right now is I measure 2 for waistband. From that line I came down to my hip measurement and to my crotch measurements, okay. So these the two lines that I have here. I have to go ahead and label it. So now for your thigh measurement, usually you can come down by 2 inches from your crotch depth. That is also your thigh measurement, okay. So I mark everything out, and I also label it thigh measurement. So on my hip line I mark out my hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch allowance for ease, and also measure the same thing on my crotch and on my waist. Remember, this is a palazzo pant, it's not a fitted pant. If it was a fitted pant, we would be doing some adjustments, okay, but this is not a fitted pant. So right, I'm going to be inputting my front crotch extension. And how to get your accurate front crotch extension is by dividing your hip by 20. Whatever you have is your front crotch extension. So from that line I came up by 1 inch, and I connect the line to my hip line, okay. So I measured what I have on that my crotch line. I measure and I divide it into 2, and I mark them. So after marking what you have on your crotch line, marking it on the half of it on your thigh line. So now you're going to measure your thigh. You know our thigh is going to measure by 2. So that 2 you're going to divide it again by 2. That's a total of 4. So this means that is why I'm folding my tape into 2, so I can find the midpoint. So I'm going to align the midpoint to that midpoint that we'll mark out for from our crotch line, from the middle of our crotch line. So I'll be marking half of my thigh measurement, okay. I'm going to be marking half of it. If for example my thigh measurement is 12, then after dividing it is 6, then I'll mark 6 on the other side, 6 on the other side also, from that middle line that we measured from our crotch. I hope you understand. So you go to your length, the length of your trouser. You come in first of all by 1 inch. After coming in by 1 inch, then you measure what you have on your thigh. You're going to input it on the length of your trouser, okay. Whatever you have on your thigh, input the length of your trouser after coming in by 1 inch. Then you go ahead and connect the lines together. Just watch this video for better understanding. So after connecting, you can see the way the waist is, right? You can see how it is. There is no shaping on anything, right? So this is how to cut your palazzo pant, because it's going to be having elastic on the waist. So that is why I did not adjust the waist. I did not use normal waist measurements. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern, so you can use it to cut out the back pattern. So again, if you have part that is a bit confusing to you, please try to rewatch this video for better understanding, okay. Like I said, this is a two-in-one pattern. You can use it to cut your short pant, and you can also use it to cut your trousers. So this is a two-in-one pattern. Okay, so you really need to watch this. So now this is a new pattern paper. If you watch this close, you can see the allowance that I left. At the top I left about 2 inches, at the side I left about 3 inches, and also at the front you need to leave about 3 inches also. So from the front, the front waist, so I went up by 2 inches, then I mark it out. I went up by 1.5 inches, please. Then I mark it out. So, but if you're on a bigger side, you can go up by 2 inches, okay? So on this hip line, I came out by 1.5 inches. So now from the front crotch extension, I came out by 2 inches. Now I measure from that line, that our hip line that is on the crotch line. If you measure, it's going to be 4 inches. And how to get your accurate back front crotch extension is by dividing your hip by 10. Whatever you have is going to be your perfect back crotch extension. Remember, to get the front one is by dividing your hip by 20. Okay, so I went this 1.5 inch that I came out from the hip line, I minus it to 1 inch. If you don't want your back side, like the bum side, to be too free, you can use 1 inch. But if you want it to be very free, you can use 1.5 inches. Okay, so the next thing I went ahead to do was to add my allowance. So what I add here is about 2 inch allowance all the way down. This is for the ease allowance. You know, this is a palazzo pant, is not to be fitted. So this is for the ease and also for the joining. So that is why I add 1 inch allowance all the way to the downside. So from this our 1.5 that I came up by, I'm going to connect it to the waistline, just the way you see me curving it out. Please, if you are curving your own, or if you are connecting, let it not be too high like this. I went ahead to reduce mine because it was a bit too high for me, so I have to go ahead and reduce mine because my backside is not that big. So on the other side, I add 1 inch allowance for joining all the way down. Okay, from the front I use 2 inches because of the joining and ease allowance, while for the side I use 1 inch for joining alone. Okay, so this is how to cut your perfect palazzo pant. So this is how to cut the back part. So guys, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment to my YouTube channel. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment section. I will definitely answer you. Okay, if you have any part that is confusing to you, try to rewatch this video or also let me know in the comment section. So right now I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, cut this back pattern out. You can see how simple and easy it is to cut your palazzo pant, your 2-in-1 palazzo pattern. So what I was doing right here is just trying to explain to you what I did. I went up by 1.5 on the waist side, but I later reduced it to 1 inch. This is how you can cut it to your short. Like you can cut, if you want to cut short, you just minus that 2 inches for the waistband, then you measure to the length you want your short to be. If you want your short to be 15, 17, 13, just measure it, then fold your fabric and cut it out. This is how simple and how easy it is to cut it out. So right now I'm going to be cutting the pockets because this is going to have pockets. So the width that I'm using is 3 inches and the length that I'm using for the pocket is 6 inches. The width 3 inches, the length is 6 inches. So I went ahead to connect it this way and I'm going to cut it out. So guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my video, comment and also share to your loved ones. Okay, let me know what you think about this. Now let's assume that this is my fabric. Okay, so first of all, what I'm doing now is I'm going to be marking out my starting point where I'm going to be taking my measurements from. Okay, so the length or how deep I want my pocket to be, I used about 10 inches for how deep I want my pocket to be. So that is what I use. So this line that I'm marking now is just my starting point where I'm going to be taking my measurements from, just as I said earlier. So I'll go ahead and connect those lines together. So now for how wide I want my pocket to be, like what I use is 7 inches. Why the width? The length is for how deep you want your pocket to be, while the width is for how wide you want your pocket to be. So what I use right here is 7 inches for the width and 10 inches for the depth. Okay, so I went ahead to connect those lines together and I'm going to cut it out. So if you're cutting this on your fabric, you're going to be cutting 4 pieces with this same shape, 4 pieces on your fabric. Okay, but based on the fact that this is just for illustration, okay, so I went ahead to just cut 2 pieces on my pattern paper. So now the next you're going to do is you have two right here. One is your pocket, while one is the pocket facing. Okay, so this is just the pocket facing. That is what I'm marking out now. I'm going to set it aside. This is the one that is going to be under. So this is your pocket. You're going to place it under. Make sure it's aligned on the waistline and also on the hip line. Then if the hip line, what you have to do is just to use your pencil or your marker to, mark out the shape. Just like you can see, I can see small fabric and small pieces there, so I have to just mark it out and cut it out. So I also cut out that arm side where our arm is going to enter. Okay, so I'm also going to cut it out. So this is how to cut your pockets and pocket facing. So I'm just going to show you guys illustration on how to insert it, if maybe like how to sew it. But watch my next video, which is going to be for my sewing tutorial, okay, and see how I'm going to be sewing it. So now let's assume that this is it. You're going to place it on top, sew it together with 1/2 inch, turn it, just turn it upside down. Just watch my next video, which is going to be the sewing tutorial. So we have come to the end of today's tutorial. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. Okay, share my video to your loved ones. So see you in my next video. Bye.